Hello YouTube. This video asks the question, what if you cracked the code to breaking into the film industry? Here's how.
We're going to shoot something really big.
Welcome. If you are new here, this is the channel where we help you monetize your filmmaking career and sell your original content. As I said, this video asks the question, what if you could crack the code to breaking into the film industry? Here's the old way. Everybody thinks that if I just make something good enough, I'll get discovered. The reality of one, making something good enough, that's subjective, clearly. And two, getting it seen by the right person, and then that right person having your best interest in mind and saying, I am going to invest a ton of money into this person. Those are slim moments in our careers, right? That's like winning the lottery. Clearly, we want those things to happen, but we want to be able to force luck. Forcing luck means that you are setting up the conditions intentionally that allow the industry to find you and to understand how to invest in you. So essentially, the first thing you need to do is treat your career like a business, not like a fine art gallery. The art part of it is just part of the deal. It's what we make. So I never worry about the creators that I talk to, whether they can make the stuff. It's always, can they set up the conditions for that stuff, that creative energy to have impact? So setting up your business, think of it as a startup, like for an app or some kind of tech platform, right? We have to go through the same thing. We have to understand what we sell. We have to understand who we sell it to, and we have to understand by what mechanism we make it and get it to market, right? By what strategy, what process, right? So if we don't have processes for all of those steps, we're kind of just winging it. So understanding what we sell and what we're an expert at, that's what Hollywood buys. They don't buy just a good idea, because as buyers, we have access to a million ideas. We have access to proven, trusted providers of content. And because buyers have access to a ton of different kinds of content that they have a reasonable expectation can succeed and is created by people who provide it for them already, they're a little reticent to let you in. So the only way for you to crack the code of breaking in is by them seeing you as an expert at something. So the question you really have to ask yourself is, what is it that I do that is difficult to achieve? In other words, what's my superhero power? What's that X factor, that thing that is sort of intangible, right? Where they can't just replace you. Because very often Hollywood just wants, and when I use Hollywood, I mean the organizations that buy shit from people. When they buy stuff, they're in two situations. It's like, I love this person and maybe this idea isn't the right one, but this person is right. So let's either give them one of our projects or buy another of their projects that does fit that particular buyer's business model. Or they hire an expert at something. And if you can convince them that you are an expert and be able to say that, not in a giant paragraph, but in a sentence, then you're really onto something. So that leads me to my next one. Be an expert. Experts, why do you want to be seen as a specialist? Like that not just a brain surgeon, but a particular kind of brain surgeon, right? That little offshoot of somebody who specializes in something really, really special, and there's only 7 of them, and you need that one of those 7 people, right? Be that person rather than just, I make comedy. Because that's going to be a really difficult, kind of broad, unspecific, you make comedy, get in fucking line, right? Like, so many people want to write comedy, but what kind of comedy, and what do you specialize in? What are you an expert at? What's that superhero power? Because experts are really easy to hire. They're really easy to quote in the press. They're really easy to collaborate with, and they're really easy to pay above industry standard. Experts can ask for a ton more money than just somebody who kind of fills a labor, or manpower, woman power spot for them. Next is solve a business problem for them. If you're not solving a business problem for them, meaning you're not getting them the results they need in order to keep their jobs, they will never work with you. So knowing what this organization buys that you're pitching to, knowing what they say yes to and what their slate looks like, when you watch Food Network or you watch A&E or you watch FX, what are the kinds of shows and what's the kind of commonality, right? Like, so if you go to Discovery, that's all male kind of unscripted soap operas, right? It's macho dudes digging for gold or driving trucks down ice roads, right? And the kind of character-driven, personality-driven stuff. So they buy a ton of that. So you're not going to go to them with a gardening show unless it's macho dudes gardening, right? Which is possible, man. You know, I consider myself a macho gardener. But it's probably not going to be something that they're looking for, right? High art is not what they're looking for. They're looking for that kind of easy to shoot drama, dude driven. So understanding what they buy and what business problem they're solving. What business problem are they trying to solve? They're trying to sell ad units, or they're trying to sell subscriptions to their platform like Netflix or HBO or any of those sort of streaming services, right? They're trying to, those are the only things that measure success for them. Did enough people view this project, view this film, TV show, whatever, and did it, that having that on our platform convert to more subscriptions or selling more ad units, or both? Like in the case of Hulu, they sell ads and they sell subscriptions. So you really need to solve that business problem for them, and you need to be able to show them. And the best way to show them that is that you're an expert at something and that you understand the subject matter and that you make something very specific. You've heard me say this 1,000 times. I am in a position to hire a lot of writers, directors, producers as a showrunner. And what I always ask is, what kind of producer are you? What kind of filmmaker are you? What kind of director? What kind of writer? And I get this a lot. Oh, I can do anything. I can write, you know, comedy, I can write thrillers, I can write horror, I can write drama. And on the surface, that sounds right? That sounds right, like you're covering your bases. But the reality of it is, what it says to somebody like me, or says to somebody who is in a position to make a decision around your project, is, what do you need me to be so I can get a check from you? So knowing what you make, being an expert, and solving their business problem. This last thing is super important. You want to offer them the one thing they want more than anything else in the world, and that is eyeballs. Because really who you are selling to is not people who appreciate, you know, your technique and your ability to use a camera and all of that. Yeah, they have a surfacey understanding of it, but it's not their job, right? That's production's job. That is director's job, that's writer's job, that's producer's job. Their job is to make sure that that project has eyeballs on it, because eyeballs mean revenue. Every single audience member that comes to them has a dollar amount attached to them. Sounds so boring and so exhausting. It's like, I just want to make great work. That's not enough. You have to understand the business part of this and understand that they want audience. So you building an audience, that is probably the biggest way for you to crack the code of breaking into this. If you have audience, you get to do so many things. And it doesn't mean it has to be, you know, 2.5 million people. I know people getting, you know, projects with 11,000 people across several social networks. You probably have that now, but we have to understand that audience, right? We have to have a relationship with that audience. That audience needs to talk back to us. They can't just watch our, you know, part of our stuff and then bail. What they're going to look at is the data. They're going to look at the data of what kind of actions your audience takes around your work. So are they watching it for a minute and bailing, or are they watching the whole thing, you know, long view times? And we're talking streaming and TV and stuff like that. When are they changing the channel, basically? Are they watching your stuff? Are they commenting on it? Are they liking it? And are they sharing it? If a lot of the people in a small deep audience like that or doing that, then they see the value of being able to invest in that. I love making stuff, right? Like, I'm a storyteller at heart. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a director. That's what I do, right? That's my first love. But the majority of my day is spent being a showrunner. Sometimes it's a showrunner director. But look at what I'm talking about. I'm talking about understanding the business. I'm talking about having something they want, which is an audience, which I have, right? Which I built over several projects, and I still maintain, and I still understand them, and I still have relationship with them. And I can sell the power and the social proof that the stuff I make resonates with a particular audience. And I know that my audience overlaps with a handful, 6 to 10 different organizations is really all my work fits into. And they're places I have a relationship with. Over years, I've taken the time to have really mutually beneficial relationships. So that's another thing, and this is sort of an extra bonus, is spend your time, rather than spending your time trying to make a feature with your friends. And there's nothing wrong with that if you want the experience of it. If you want to learn how to just make the mistakes of making a feature or make the right moves or learn on your feet, that is such a good learning experience. But if you are here to make a dent in the industry and have impact, you have to spend more time building relationships with people in the industry and creating proofs of concept, not whole projects and saying take it or leave it. So I hope this has helped. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification button so you're notified of upcoming videos. And I can't wait to see you in the next one. And I'm talking to you.